Welcome to Mindset Capital TV, where mindset meets money. This channel is built for thinkers, builders, and future leaders who understand that wealth starts in the mind. If you're ready to level up your thinking, your habits, and your income, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. How your environment is secretly controlling you. The truth you were never told. You think your decisions are yours. You believe you chose your habits, your ambition, your limits, your income. But what if most of what you call choice was never really a choice at all? What if the room you wake up in, the people you hear every day, the standards you're surrounded by, and the expectations placed on you have been quietly deciding your future without ever asking for permission? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people don't fail because they lack discipline. They don't stay broke because they're lazy. They don't stop growing because they're afraid. They stop because their environment trained them to. And once an environment sets your expectations, your behavior follows automatically. This documentary isn't about motivation. It's about control, the invisible kind, the kind that shapes who you become before you ever realize you're being shaped. And once you see how your environment is controlling you, you can't unsee it. The illusion of free will. Most people believe they're independent thinkers, that their goals came from deep personal desire, that their limits are logical, that their choices are rational. But psychology tells a different story. Human behavior is not driven by willpower first. It's driven by context. Put the same person in two different environments, and you get two different outcomes. Same intelligence, same personality, same potential, different life. Your environment decides what feels normal, what feels risky, what feels impossible, what feels not for people like you. And it teaches you these things quietly, not through instruction, but through repetition. You don't wake up one day and decide what's realistic. You absorb it from family conversations, from coworkers' complaints, from the lifestyles you see daily, from what gets praised and what gets mocked. This is why telling people to think bigger almost never works. Because you cannot outthink a room that contradicts you every day. How your environment sets your income ceiling. Income is not just about skill. It's about exposure. Every environment carries an invisible income ceiling. Not written, not announced, but enforced. In some environments, talking about money is normal. Growth is expected. Opportunity is shared. In others, money is avoided. Ambition is questioned. Stability is worshipped. And here's what most people never realize. Your environment decides what feels reasonable for you to earn, not what's possible, what feels acceptable. This is why people sabotage themselves right before growth. A raise feels exciting, then uncomfortable. A new opportunity feels promising, then too risky. Success starts to feel like pressure. That discomfort isn't fear of failure. It's fear of misalignment. Because earning more than your environment expects creates distance. And humans are wired to avoid distance from a group. So without realizing it, people slow themselves down. Just enough to stay familiar. Self-made high earners don't break income ceilings with confidence. They break them by changing environments. Because ceilings are not personal. They're contextual. The people around you are programming you every day. You don't need to agree with someone for them to influence you. You don't need advice. You don't need instruction. You don't even need conversation. Just exposure. Human beings are social calibrators. We subconsciously adjust our behavior to match the emotional temperature of the people around us. Spend enough time around people who complain, problems feel permanent. Fear risk, safety feels intelligent. Mock ambition, growth feels embarrassing. Settling feels mature. And eventually, without realizing it, you stop fighting the current. Not because you gave up, but because resistance is exhausting. This is why your social circle matters more than your motivation. Motivation is occasional. Environment is constant. Self-made individuals understand something subtle. Every group has a directional pull. It pulls conversations a certain way. It pulls expectations downward or upward. It pulls behavior toward what keeps the group comfortable. And the strongest pull isn't negativity. It's normality. Because whatever feels normal stops being questioned. Why comfortable environments quietly kill ambition. Comfort is not the absence of pain. Comfort is the absence of pressure. And pressure is what forces growth. Most people believe they stay stuck because life is hard. The truth is often the opposite. They stay stuck because life is too familiar. Familiar routines. Familiar conversations. Familiar expectations. Nothing challenges their identity. Nothing demands more. So ambition slowly fades, not with resistance, but with relief. You stop dreaming big because dreaming big would disrupt the balance. You stop trying new things because trying new things would invite judgment. You stop growing because growth would make you different. And being different inside a comfortable environment feels like danger. Self-made individuals notice this early. They realize something uncomfortable. Environments don't just support comfort. They protect it. Anything that threatens the comfort of the group, ambition, change, growth, is subtly discouraged. Not with force, with jokes, with doubt, with silence. Why motivation always fails in the wrong environment. Motivation is the most overused word in personal growth. People chase it, wait for it, blame themselves when they lose it. But motivation was never meant to carry your life. Motivation is fragile. It spikes when something feels new. A video inspires you. A book reframes your thinking. A conversation lights a spark. Then you go back to your life. Same room, same people, same routines, same expectations. And slowly, quietly, motivation disappears. Not because you're weak, but because your environment is stronger than your intention. Trying to change inside the wrong environment is like running uphill on ice. You might move for a moment, but eventually you slide back. This is why people say, I was doing so well then I fell off. I don't know what happened. I just lost motivation. They didn't lose motivation. They were outmatched. Self-made individuals don't ask, how do I stay motivated? They ask, why does my environment require motivation just to improve? Because when the environment is right, progress doesn't feel heroic. It feels normal. The hidden cost of staying in familiar rooms. Most people don't stay where they are because they're afraid of failure. They stay because leaving has a social cost. Familiar rooms come with known roles, known expectations, predictable reactions. You know how to behave. You know what's accepted. You know how far you're allowed to go before it feels uncomfortable. Growth threatens all of that. Because growth changes. The conversations you tolerate. The problems you take seriously. The pace you move at. The standards you live by. And when one person changes, the room reacts. Sometimes quietly. Less encouragement. More be realistic. Fewer invitations. Sometimes directly. You've changed. You think you're better now? Why can't you just be normal? These reactions aren't always malicious. They're protective. The room is trying to stay stable. And here's the hard truth. Staying loyal to an environment that caps you is a hidden form of self-betrayal. Self-made individuals understand this early. They don't argue. They don't announce their growth. They don't burn bridges. They simply stop organizing their lives around what no longer fits. How cities, jobs, and digital spaces quietly rewrite your identity. You don't just live in an environment. You adapt to it. Cities, workplaces, and digital spaces don't simply host your life. They train it. Each one answers silent questions every day. How fast should I move? What kind of future is normal here? What does success look like? What kind of person survives in this space? A slow city teaches patience or complacency. A hyper-competitive city teaches urgency or anxiety. A creative environment teaches expression or instability. None of these are good or bad on their own, but they all rewrite identity. The same person placed in a new city often changes. How they dress, how they speak, what they believe is possible, what they tolerate from themselves. The same is true for jobs. Some workplaces reward curiosity. Others reward obedience. Some punish ambition. Others assume it. And then there are digital environments. Your feed, your group chats, your comment sections, your notifications. These are rooms too. If your digital environment is filled with fear-based news, comparison, complaints, cynicism, your nervous system adapts. You become reactive, distracted, cautious. Self-made individuals don't treat environment casually. They curate where they live, where they work, where their attention goes, because they understand something most people miss. Identity is not fixed. It is context-dependent. Change the context, and the identity begins to shift. Why willpower is overrated and design controls everything. Most people believe success comes down to willpower. Be stronger. Try harder. Push through resistance. But willpower was never meant to carry your life. It fluctuates. It burns out. It collapses under stress. Self-made individuals don't build lives that require constant willpower. They build lives that remove friction from the right behaviors. They don't ask, "How do I focus more?" They ask, "Why is distraction so accessible?" They don't ask, "How do I save money?" They ask, "Why is spending effortless?" They don't ask, "How do I be disciplined?" They ask, "Why does my environment reward the wrong behavior?" Then they redesign. Notifications off by default. Distractions hidden. Learning materials visible. Commitments pre-scheduled. This is why they look disciplined. Not because they're stronger, but because they've made failure inconvenient. The average person tries to resist temptation. The high performer redesigns the room so temptation doesn't appear. This isn't weakness. It's respect for reality. The first environment shift that changes everything without quitting your life. Narrator. Most people think change has to be dramatic. Quit the job. Move cities. Disappear from your life. That belief keeps people exactly where they are. Because the first environment shift is not physical. It's selective. Self-made individuals understand something most people miss. You don't need a new life. You need a new default. The first shift almost always starts with attention. What you listen to while driving. What you scroll before sleeping. What voices you allow to dominate your thinking. These are environments, and they quietly train your nervous system. If your mornings begin with stressful news, complaints, comparison, urgency, your body stays in survival mode. Growth can't happen there. The first real change looks boring. Less noise, fewer inputs, one higher standard influence added intentionally. Not 10 podcasts, not 5 books, 1. Because the nervous system needs time to recalibrate. This is why people who try everything rarely change. They overload themselves with contradiction. Self-made individuals pace exposure. They let the new environment normalize. Then they add another, quietly. Deliberately, without announcing it. The environment you carry inside you. Even after people change their surroundings, something strange happens. They fall back. Old habits, old fears, old ceilings. Not because the new environment didn't work, but because they brought the old one with them. There is an external environment and an internal one. Your internal environment is made of default thoughts, emotional reactions, assumptions about yourself, stories you repeat automatically. These were installed by past environments, family, school, work, culture, and unless you update them, you recreate the same outcomes in new places. This is why changing cities doesn't always change lives. The internal room stays the same. Self-made individuals notice their internal defaults. They catch patterns like, "I need permission. I shouldn't stand out. This is risky for someone like me. I'll do it later." These thoughts feel personal. They're not. They're echoes. Echoes of rooms you no longer live in, but still obey. Real change happens when the internal environment updates to match the external one. That alignment is when momentum accelerates. Why familiar struggle feels safer than unfamiliar growth. Most people believe they avoid growth because it's hard. That's only part of the truth. They avoid growth because familiar struggle feels safer than unfamiliar success. Familiar struggle comes with predictable pain, known limits, a story you can explain, sympathy from the people around you. You know how to survive it. Unfamiliar growth is different. It comes with uncertainty, new expectations, higher standards, no script. Your nervous system doesn't know how to relax there yet. So it pulls you back, not because growth is wrong, but because it's unknown. This is why people say, "At least I know what to expect here. I don't want to mess things up. This is just how my life is." Those aren't excuses. They're signals of conditioning. Your environment taught you what kind of pain is acceptable. And for many people, struggle is familiar enough to feel safe. Self-made individuals notice this pattern. They realize comfort isn't the absence of pain. It's the presence of predictability. And predictability can quietly destroy ambition. How money environments shape your thinking without you noticing. Money is not just something you earn. It's an environment you grow up inside. Some people are raised where money is discussed openly, planned strategically, treated as a tool. Others are raised where money is avoided, feared, constantly scarce, emotional. These environments install rules. Rules like money causes problems. Rich people are greedy. Stability matters more than growth. Don't risk what little you have. These rules don't feel like beliefs. They feel like common sense. And common sense is powerful because it's rarely questioned. This is why two people can earn the same income and build completely different futures. One sees money as something to manage. The other sees money as something to survive. Self-made individuals don't magically lose fear of money. They relearn it. They replace emotional rules with mechanical understanding. How money moves. How risk is calculated. How leverage works. How systems reward behavior. When money stops being emotional, it stops controlling decisions. The identity your environment gave you and how to rewrite it. Long before you decided who to become, your environment decided who you were allowed to be. Every environment assigns identities, not explicitly, not cruelly, but consistently. The responsible one, the realistic one, the creative one, the one who struggles but keeps trying. These labels aren't spoken. They're reinforced through reactions, through expectations, through what's rewarded and what's quietly discouraged. And the longer you live inside a role, the more it feels like you. If this video shifted your mindset, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Remember, your mindset is your greatest asset. Protect it, build it, invest in it. This is Mindset Capital TV. We'll see you in the next one.